Dutch Prime Minister Mark Rutte says F-16 fighter jets will be given to Ukraine as soon as the conditions are met. President Volodymyr Zelensky welcomed what he is describing as a historic decision. Ukraine has long called for warplanes, which it says are essential to counter Russia's air force.
This is one more step in strengthening Ukraine's air defenses. We will use F-16 jets to keep Russian terrorists away from Ukrainian cities and villages. Mark and I have agreed on the number of F-16s that will be provided to Ukraine after our pilots and engineers have been trained.
Alexandre Vautravers is editor-in-chief of the Swiss Military Review. He joins us from Geneva. Sir, the Ukrainians, we mentioned that, have been asking for jets for a long time. Is this a game changer?
It's not a game changer, but it allows Ukraine to stay in the game. Until now, we can say that Ukraine has received quite a number of combat aircraft, mostly MiG-29s, so it has been able to maintain the number of aircraft that it started the war with. But of course, Western countries have no more MiG-29s, no more ex-Soviet airplanes to commit to this fight, and therefore it will need to be Western airplanes from now on.
What can these planes do? How are Ukrainians likely to use them?
These airplanes are multi-role, and because they are fitted with a very comprehensive electronic suite, and even the older generation F-16s that we are talking about now have been modernized repeatedly. They are capable of air defense, they are capable of reconnaissance, including electronic suppression, jamming missions, and of course striking capabilities, so air-to-ground capabilities as well.
But what does that actually mean in terms of the war? I understand everything you just said, but I mean, can it either help tilt the balance of the war, or are we likely to see different headlines coming out of this conflict as a result of this?
We can imagine that the situation is going to change in the coming weeks and coming months because Russian air forces have become emboldened by the fact that less and less Ukrainian aircraft were able to take to the air and intercept and fire missiles at them. So without a sufficient number of airplanes, the Ukrainian Air Force cannot maintain its territorial, its airspace integrity. We're going to see in the coming months more Ukrainian airplanes, and therefore this will probably push back the Russian Air Force strikes in the coming months.
It's one thing to have the jets. It's another to have the pilots to fly them, and they're not going to be, Dutch pilots or European pilots involved in this war, not directly. They're not going to be in the cockpit flying them. Who is going to fly them? How long does it take to train the Ukrainian pilots?
I can give you a short answer. There have been 35 or so Ukrainian pilots who have already been earmarked to undergo training abroad on Western airplanes. It can be the F-16, but there is also other Western airplanes that are being considered for this role. And so the United States Air Force has conducted a small survey, a study to see how many weeks, how many months are needed for these qualified Ukrainian pilots experienced with MiG-29s and Sukhoi 27, how to convert them onto Western airplanes. And within 3 to 4 months, this transformation of the pilots is doable. But of course, they will have specific knowledge in certain areas, certain key areas. They will be able to perform certain key missions, but perhaps not all of the missions that Western professional pilots would have.
All right, Alexandre Vautravers, editor-in-chief of the Swiss Military Review. Thank you very much.
Thank you.